It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom. It's Rusty. What is up, everybody? It is Tuesday here in America. Pretty sure it's Tuesday. I gotta think about that. Yep, it's Tuesday. So, welcome to the podcast, the public access podcast here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. I'm your host, Rusty Diamond. Thank you, everyone. I think I said thank you, everyone, for being here. You're getting thanked again, gosh darn it. So, yeah, we're here, and I think this might be the last show this week. The guy I was going to have on tomorrow told me that the government shut him down. So, I don't know if that means that he can't talk about what he was going to come on and talk about, or he can't talk at all. I don't know. So, this could be the last episode this week. So, you guys, I'm bringing a special guest for this possible last episode of the week. On a Tuesday, we have Angie Sailor. I tried to stretch that out too much and it didn't quite work. I tried, but we have Angie Sailor here. There she is. Angie, how you doing?
Great, thank you. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm great. It's I can't complain really too much today. Get to go out and it looks like, yeah, it cleared up some. I thought I was going to be, I'm trying to get out a few more times outside before it starts cooling off a little bit. So, trying to get that going, but can only do so much, right? So, um, but yeah, so you're out in Minnesota, right?
Yes.
All right. You've been in Minnesota for a long time, or what's the deal
I
with
moved
that?
here in 2013. I'm actually an Iowa girl.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, yeah, my favorite spot. Uh, so what brought you up to Minnesota? Was it just the right time to head up there?
My husband is from Minnesota, and so he said that he was saving me from Iowa, but that's how I ended up in Minnesota. It's because he's from here, his family's from here.
Okay. So yeah, not too not too far from everything. Uh, but so let's see. So you were telling me this is your second podcast you've ever done, right?
Yeah.
So what was the first podcast you did, and
I
how'd you
did
end up on that?
um I was on a Facebook um thread or whatever, and it was somebody who did podcasts regarding unique friendships. And so Heather, she's like my one of my closest best friends. She happens to be my oldest son's stepmom, and so it's a very unique situation. She married my oldest son's dad, and through the years of lessons, chaos, I mean, you name it, with myself and my son. Her and I became best friends. And ironically, her husband and my husband are best friends. So we like go on vacations together. We spend a lot of time together. It's just one big extended family. So that's how we ended up, her and I were both on this podcast together.
Had she done a podcast before?
No.
Okay, so you both just decided to get into a Facebook group about podcasts, and
Yeah, it was, yeah, I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't even know exactly how that all happened, but that's how it happened. Evidently, it was meant to be. So it was fun. It was fun doing that. But I'm new to podcasts, just so you know.
okay, yeah, well, that's all right. It's good that more people are getting into it, getting into podcasting, and it's it's better than having the good thing about it too is you don't have to go anywhere if you don't want to. You can stay at home, and now that it's so easy to do video calls and stuff like that. You don't have to go and try to meet with someone somewhere, have them come to your house or your studio or whatever
Right.
kind of place. Or I've had some where I've met someone like in a coffee shop. There was this one guy, and he made the, let's see. So we were in a coffee shop that was pretty loud, but he had these boxes that he made that were with one, like the front side was open, and he had like the egg carton soundproofing thing and then a microphone in there in the middle. So it was a little better, but still, I mean, there's a lot of background noise and in a coffee shop, and so
Mm.
it was kind of hard to turn that out and have it sound
Right.
as well as it could have. But yeah, we learned, and but that was probably 5 years ago. So things have changed, and I don't know if people still do that. And they probably thought we were crazy, two people sitting across from each other talking into boxes. What can you do? It's kind of an interesting thing, but yeah, now it's just everyone kind of just be in their own place, and can't really beat that. It's pretty nice being able to just, I don't know, not have to try to do, set up everyone's equipment before each time, and everyone can test their own stuff and just sort of get right on and go, which is a nice deal. Has hosting ever came a thing to you for hosting a podcast? Is that ever
You know,
something you were looking at, or?
I was I've thought about it. I've tossed the idea around a little bit, and I'm like, I don't know, but I guess if that's something that's supposed to be in my future, it will gnaw at me for a while until I actually pay attention to it. So we'll have to take a look at things a little ways down the road.
Yeah, and I mean it's pretty easy to do it. I mean it's free. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, Spotify has, you just go on there, and you have as much space as you need for as many episodes, and you just need a computer. You need what you need to have right there. You have enough to do it. So if that's something you want to do, you have the equipment to do it. So I don't know, but
Yeah.
um, yeah. So you're more of a writer than a podcaster, though, correct?
Um, I didn't really even think that I was a writer, Rusty, to be
Uh,
honest with you. Um, I speak all day long at my job. I've done public speaking, so I think at the end of the day, my niche is probably more in speaking with people than writing, but I did write a book that's been very, very successful. So, and I'm kind of tossing around writing another one. So, I don't know, maybe I'm just gonna do a couple of things. Kind of jump into the deep water here and maybe venture out to a few other avenues. We'll have to wait and see. My schedule's pretty busy right now, so
Even better. And with those public speaking, is that you, one-on-ones? Or are they like going in front of crowds and speaking in front of crowds, or going and what kind
yeah.
of deal is that?
So I do a little bit of everything. I'm a licensed alcohol and drug counselor, so I do counseling. I've been a counselor for 7 years now. So I do a lot of one-on-one speaking, but not about myself, of course, about, just individuals. But I have spoke at book signings. I've spoke at prisons, at one prison, and I have a couple coming up. I spoke at a behavioral board of health summit with professionals. Um, so I mean, I've done a little bit of everything.
Okay. Um, and so, sorry, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Ah, um, So are you then, you said a drug and alcohol counselor. Does that mean that you are like, working with people who are there because the court told them they had to go to you, or is this people go to you because they want to go to you, or is it kind of combination of both, or
It's been a combination of both. So right now, so I used to work with people who were like on probation or had CPS involvement, and I still work with a few of those individuals. But I'm right now I'm working in a residential program, and it's like a private pay, self pay type thing. So it's a little higher end treatment center, um, and a lot of the people that I work with have like successful jobs, they have a lot of that kind of stuff going on for them. To be honest with you, my favorite population are people to work with are people who um, have been at the very bottom of their, rock bottom. People who have been in prison or coming out of prison or have lot, I have a passion to help anybody, to be quite honest with you. But I can just really relate to the rock bottom. I can really relate to losing everything in your life and trying to dig your way up. And my number one thing to do as a counselor is to give people hope.
yeah. And I mean, so what is it about the rock bottom that makes it something that's you're most passionate about? I mean, with it being a rock bottom, so I mean, yeah, within rock bottom, I mean, there's nowhere to go but up. So you got
Yeah.
that going, unless people think they hit rock bottom, but they don't. And there's still that. And does that happen sometimes? You got that too? You got people who
Oh
think they're at
yes.
rock bottom and then,
Oh
oh,
yes.
there's wrong.
Yeah. Um, so there's generally a variety of things that get to a person to that point, right? I personally experienced rock bottom. I personally experienced losing everything, and I mean everything in my life. Um, but I think that when somebody's at rock bottom and they really want to try to get out of that, I feel like there's a different level of gratitude that's tied to that. When little things come along, there's just like they're grateful for a lone pair of sweatpants or a ramen noodle or an opportunity to find some housing. I mean, the list goes on and on. And that's just kind of a it's just a unique situation for me when I am able to guide somebody to a functional level working towards optimal in the recovery. That's just because what I do right now is I work with um, people who are at the dysfunctional stage. They come in going through the withdrawals, going through all of that stuff. And by the time they leave, they're just barely getting out of the woods, if that makes sense.
I mean, so what do you do with the people who are in withdrawal? Do you make them go to like a hospital first, or do you have people on site that will do it? Because I mean, it's the only thing you can die
Yeah.
from withdrawals is
Yeah,
alcohol.
that's true. Um,
And I think also barbiturates. I think you can also die from withdrawals of from those.
the effects of just however much substance the person has in their body and dehydration can play a factor. I mean, there's a lot of things that play a factor with that. Fentanyl seems to be the number one thing rolling around our area right now, and it's very, very
Rolling
scary
around everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah. But we do have 24/7 nursing on our site. I work at Botair Recovery Institute. And sometimes they will send them out depending, but it's usually the alcohol piece. If somebody's really intoxicated and their BAC is, up there a little ways, they will send them out and have them be in a hospital setting until they get to a point. But we have like the withdrawal protocol and everything because we have 24/7 nursing staff at our facility.
So what shift are you on when you're there?
Um, I'm on first shift, but I work late on Tuesdays, so that's why I'm here today with you. So I work, 40 to 45 hours a week. It just depends on what my caseload is. And then I work one Saturday every 4 or 5 weeks and one holiday a year. So I'm usually there from 7:30 to 4:30 every day except for Tuesday.
And so when you're doing Tuesday shifts, like what kind of shift is that? What kind of hours is that?
I'm supposed to start at 11 and get off around 7:30,
Okay,
but
so
I'm
it's
generally,
it's yeah,
it's not bad. Yeah,
it's not terrible. It's not like you're starting when you get off
right.
normally.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it'll work for now. My goal is to eliminate late nights, weekends, and holidays, and then we'll see what happens in the future.
How would that work? Or how would that look
Uh,
if you're able to
I
do
would
that?
work Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, 10-hour days, or it just depends. It probably wouldn't work at the job that I'm at now, but in the future, I would like to find a job where I can eliminate nights, weekends, and holidays.
So how would that work in a job where uh you got people there all the time and always needing care? How would you, are there places like that that exist, or is that something that's harder to find, or what?
I would work in an intensive outpatient program. I would move to a different format. So where it'd be like 3 days a week type of thing for like outpatient, and then I would just do like individual sessions in between there. That's just if I was to transition out of where I'm at right now, that's the next step that I would go to.
So then are you signing off for these people that are in trouble? Are you like signing off for them like when they have to come in and uh you have to bring the step back to their whoever the probation or parole officer? Are you signing off for them and they gotta be able to bring the paper back? I don't know if it's how it works right now, but is it something like that?
So what I'm hearing you say is like, if somebody is on probation, do I sign off on it? No, actually, what I do is I work with the patient, I advocate for the patient, and I will report if they're on probation. I will report to the probation officer their progress and just like how things are going for them, and then try to collaborate the best aftercare option for the patient with like the probation officer. Um, so yeah, I mean, I have to collaborate with them if the patient signs a release of information for them. That's the only way that I can, obviously. But yeah, that's just all part of it.
So you're not chasing down, you're not going out to trying to find these people outside of there that are in trouble and trying to bust them somewhere.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That
Yeah, they
that is
I yeah,
no. I'm on
I've
the other
heard
end of it,
some.
Rusty. I'm
Okay.
on the other end of it. When somebody ends up in treatment and they need some help and guidance, I'm there to help them. I'm not there to make their life more miserable.
Okay. 'Cause yeah, I've heard the go to hanging out at all the bars and waiting for them to show up there, or the what was the other place? There was or else having to, if they're not showing up, checking the jail roster to see if that's where they are.
You
Okay.
have to
That
remember.
sounds
So I mean, I struggled with meth for many, many years, and I got myself caught up in a federal charge. Um, so I have been through a lot over the years, and I went away and I got a mandatory minimum of 5 years federal prison sentence for manufacturing meth. So throughout that journey, I learned a lot. And then I had to go through 6 months mandatory, halfway house. And I mean, there was just a lot of things with that. So I experienced a lot of stuff personally. And I would have to say there was only a couple of people throughout that journey that really had my best interest in mind. The rest of them were like drill sergeants per se, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So I, my passion is a little bit different than that. I'm not, I'm there to help people if they want to be helped.
Was this in Iowa that this happened, that you were there?
Yeah.
Well, before I left, I had someone who was working for me, and where were they from? They were from wherever Tom Arnold was from, and I don't remember where that was in Iowa, but
Uh,
his
I want to
brother
say,
was into something. His brother was a big name in that and got yeah, I forgot what it was. I'm
it
blanking
was
on it, but
it was probably right around the years 2003 through 2009. That's when all of that stuff really took off or blew up in Iowa. And but
what was
no,
it? The reason for that, you think?
um, well, that's when a lot of people learned how to manufacture meth. And that was when Sudafed was that during those years, that was when Sudafed was available. Oh, like just in the store, right? It wasn't behind the counter yet. There wasn't regulations tied to it. And it became very easy, and there was a lot of people who were manufacturing meth, and it just turned into a really big problem. And I'm forever grateful for the people who told on me. When I got
Were they?
arrested the day
Oh, go ahead.
uh, when I got arrested, the day I got arrested, I thought my life was over. Like I didn't have anything going. Like it was just really, I was in a really dark place. But as time went on, I realized that I was one of the lucky ones, and I made the choice to change my life. I did a long-term treatment program called RDAP in federal prison. And during that time frame, I utilized those tools and I still do to this day. And it really just changed me to who I am today. So I'm grateful for the people who told on me. But the day I got arrested, I wasn't.
Huh. Who was it who told on you? Was it someone that got off with a lighter sentence or got
Yeah, so there was 9 of us on my federal indictment, and there were several people who told on me in the federal grand jury. And I'm not going to mention any names, but I know that the people who told on me, they did me a favor, and I just wish them the best and hope that they can find their way out of the world of destruction like I did.
are they still uh in that world of whatever it
Um,
may be?
I can't really say because I don't know for sure. My guess is if you don't learn a really hard lesson, Rusty, if you don't have a really big consequence, it's hard to get out of that world.
Yep. And
So
I mean, there's not really a reason to get it out of that world
if you don't have
if
a
that's
purpose, right?
right. So I mean, so when you found that out, I mean, what was going through your head? You know, were you pissed off? Were you out to, wanting vengeance right away, or were you at forget these people or um I don't know, I'll find someone on the inside to, you
Yeah.
know, find them on the outside?
So when I found all of this out, I had a lot of criminal thinking at the time, of course, right?
Yeah.
And both of my parents died right before I got arrested, 3 months apart, and then my kids were out there fending for themselves. And so I had like all of my choices just piled in on top of me. And I sat in county jail for 7 months down in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, before they moved me.
Oh, wow. Because
And
I heard that's worse than being in prison.
that was the worst time. And during that time, all I had was my thoughts. And of course, I didn't have any meth. I didn't have anything to alter my mind or cover up my emotions. And I had all of these thoughts and plans in my head of how I was going to get even, what I was going to do. And all that did was feed this like rage inside of me. Um, and then when I finally got moved to the first federal prison that I was in, um, I could preoccupy my mind. Like I went out and I would run the track and I would play softball, and I was able to just kind of lessen it. But all of those like premeditated thoughts of I'm going to get even with you, right?
Right.
This isn't okay. We're there. Until I started the RDAP program, about halfway through the art, I was really resistant to that because I didn't want to change. I wanted to hold on to all of the things that weren't good for me, and I just wanted other people to hurt like I was hurting, if that makes sense. But then halfway through that program, I realized that responsibility is a huge attitude that I needed to start paying attention to. And so
Right.
taking responsibility for the role that I played in all of that was a big deal. And that's when things just started changing for me. I'm like, you know what? They're not worth the energy to me anymore. And I just continued to do what I needed to do because everything I had done up prior to that did not work for me. I mean, like I ruined a lot of things, and I didn't really think that there was a way out, Rusty, to be honest with you, but there was a way out. And I became very close with my higher power. I didn't have any connection with God or Jesus. I never even went to church. I didn't know anything about that, but I had nothing else in my life. And I started going to Bible studies and just trying to find something that made sense to me. So, the combination of my relationship with God and all of the tools that I learned there, it just all of those anger, resentments, and everything just dissipated.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's always good to get to that point where, you can find something that's going to work for you, and everything works for everyone a little differently. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't even work.
Right.
Nothing works, and you got to keep finding something else. So side note, I was looking this up. So Lori Arnold, who was Tom Arnold's sister. The
Right.
Okay, so yeah, um,
Is it
let's
Ottumwa,
see, let's look it
Iowa?
up. I believe so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's where it is.
I just
Um,
I just remember stuff from down there during that time frame.
yeah. And so, um, let's see. So then, okay. So you found out what was working for you, and you found out that during the Bible study, that was kind of what. Well, I mean, was that your hope then? Was that kind of what you put everything into? Was that, or I mean, did you know, give yourself all into that, or did you keep the responsibility on yourself and have that, or did you let the responsibility go totally that way, or how did that look for you?
So it didn't work it wasn't a fast process, let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Everything that I learned, like that I was learning through Bible study and stuff, there was just something kind of moving in me, but my mind said this is just a coincidence, none of this makes sense, until a lady named Judy, um, she sent me a letter, and I didn't know who Judy was. I remember that she was the mom of one of my classmates, but I didn't know who she was. And out of the blue, she sent me a letter when I was in county jail. Her and a couple other ladies that were in a church together, and the one lady's grandson was on my middle son Brady's baseball team. Excuse me. And so they said, we've been following you in the papers, and we noticed that you were in prison, and we just want you to know that we're praying for you. And I'm like, what? Like, I mean, like, that was foreign to me. I'm like, well, that's nice. But then this lady named Judy, she continued to write me. And during that time, I would have to say that there was a combination of things that were building my faith. But Judy just never stopped writing me. She still to this day writes me, and she comes and we will go out for lunch and stuff. But when she would write me, she would just write, I hope things are going well, just talk about just daily life. And she always added a Bible verse to the letter. And it was very strange to me that the Bible verse was right intact with everything that was going on in my head at the time. And I'm like,
Oh, okay.
this is too cool. This is too much of a coincidence. But I want to say about a year and a half into my sentence, I realized that there really wasn't such a thing as coincidence anymore, and that maybe this was going to work for me. So it took a while. It took a lot of patience and a lot of and then of course my one bunkie in prison, she was a very godly woman. She spoke God's word with confidence. Just when I look back, I see how just people were placed in my life along the way, and I just continue to fill that void. There's a huge void I had. I mean, I had a lot of guilt and shame, grief and loss, resentments, anger, you name it. And I just continued to fill that void because I mean, I didn't have anywhere else to go but that, right?
Right.
So that's how I ended up writing my book. After here's my book.
And is that you?
Yep, it's me in a
Okay.
jail cell,
And so,
reenacted.
okay, reenacted. Okay. So it wasn't someone
No,
in there with you had
no, there's no cameras or phones.
with
Well,
the
I mean, there's
camera. There
there's
probably
usually a phone.
some, but yeah.
Yeah. They don't last very long in there. It doesn't
No.
take much for somebody to find out about that stuff.
Right. And so then you wrote that while you were in there or once you were out?
Nope. I wrote this book let's see, it was during over Christmas of 2021. It actually was published in May of 22. So it's been out a little over a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I have my questions I like asking the writers. So did you write that in like a outline form, or did you just write it go, 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 not knowing where it's gonna end, like a Stephen King book, and just I mean, I assume you weren't staying up for days on end at this point once you were out of prison, and just writing, writing, writing. But did you have an ending of where you wanted to get to, or did you just and fill in the blanks, or how'd that work?
So people had told me for years, I would share just little bits and pieces to, along the way. And people would say, Angie, you need to write a book. And I'd be like, I'm not an author. I don't know how to write. And I was in between jobs. And I truly think this was part of God's plan too, because I was in between jobs and it was like December through like February. Um, and I'm like, maybe I should just start writing a book. And of course, I prayed about it. Like, is this something that because I don't know how to write. Well, I do know how to write, but I didn't think that I did. I didn't have confidence in that. And my goal was to just write a book, write just my thoughts from the day that I got arrested until after I got out. I wanted to just write and I wanted to just copy it off and put it in my kids as baby books. That's what I was going to do.
Oh, wow.
But
Okay.
I just sat down and started typing. And I mean, when I tell you, Rusty, it was just one big glob. Like there was no dialogue. I just type. And it took me about a month and a half, believe it or not, to write my book. When my husband went to work at 5:30 in the morning, I was up typing. Then I typed till he got home and I typed. That's what I did. And when I got everything that I needed to get out in this book, then I applied for a couple jobs and started the job that I have right now. So, I mean, it all happened the way that it did. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do with this, right? But
Yeah.
here's the key. During that time frame, it was very therapeutic and healing for me because there was a whole lot of stuff that happened throughout that journey that I don't think I really allowed myself to process fully. And I don't think I really allowed myself to feel the feelings with it. And that's one thing that I do. I allow myself to work through my emotions, feel the feelings I have, acknowledge, things, accept it for what it is, whether I like it or not. And that's what I do. I move on. So then I just ended up finding an editor by a Facebook. It just, all the pieces went together and my book has done very, very well. It's on Amazon. And it's just in a format of me telling my story from that day that I got arrested. And it's kind of ironic that a lot of people say, "Hey, will you write a book from all of the stuff prior to you getting arrested?" And I mean, I've had a lot of people reach out to me. They just want like you know, you
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
They want all of that. And I'm like, I don't really think that I don't think I'm gonna go there for a couple of different reasons. I don't want to embarrass my kids any more than they've been embarrassed over the years, if they have been. I mean, they say that they're good, but in my mind as a mom, and I don't really want to drag up all of that stuff because I truly believe what you feed your brain is what you're going to get. And I don't want to go there. So,
Yep.
yeah, so
Totally fine.
that's how it came out. And it turned out to be a good thing. And it's helped a lot of people. So, or so they've reported to me, it's been,
Right.
so.
And it sounds like you've worked through it, and it's not just something that's sitting there, chewing at the back of your brain. Um, yes, I mean, it's okay if you leave it in the behind. You've processed through it, so
Yeah. Yeah.
what's the big deal? Look forward. Um, why not? And so where are people going to find you said it's on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Hope Dealer, A Way Out is what it's called under Angela Sailor. Then I've done book signings, I've done book speaking engagements. I've actually been tossing around, and this is probably the first many people are going to hear about this, but I'm really big into the CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the stuff that I learned in my long-term program, right? And so I teach that at my work, and I'm very passionate, and I truly believe that if you change your thoughts, you can change your world. So I'm tossing around writing a self-help book, and I think that that's going to happen within a year.
Right. I'll do it. So uh, got podcast guy said to do it, so you got to do it now. So
All right, Rusty, I'm going to
yeah,
put that on my calendar.
yeah. All right. That's how things work in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, well then, so people can find you there. Go to the website. Do you have like a contact there for you, or if people want to get a hold of you, or if they want to have you
Yeah.
speak or anything like that, they just find you
Yeah.
there.
Well, I have a website. I'm actually doing some life coaching on the side, life coaching. It's called the Hope Dealer Life Coach. And you can find me at Angie Sailor at hope-dealer.com.
So is there a hope-dealer.com website?
I have my own, yes.
Okay, so all right, so they can go there then too.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Okay. Well, yeah, Angie, I had a great time talking with you and getting to hear everything and hear your story and get it out there into the world and get you to write another book. Now, give you something else to do, something else on your plate. So yeah, hopefully, yeah, something looking into the future rather than going back and dwelling on the past. What are you gonna do on the past? What can you really nothing can
You
really
can't change
change
the
you.
past.
Yeah, you can change the
Can't
future
change it.
though. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah. Get writing, get writing. And yeah. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, all right?
Thank you, Rusty. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
Yeah, you're welcome. Enjoy like the 3 weeks of perfect weather there that you got going. You're probably right in the middle of right now. So
Yes.
yeah. All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
yep. Bye. All right, Angie Sailor. So thank you everyone so much for listening here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN, the Public Access Podcast. And that is the show, man. Boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Ernest! Ernest! Ernest!
Yes, Pee-wee.
You brought the snacks, right?